All of these incidents were reported around 2011. There's something that lives in our house, and it isn't human, says Carl, a resident of an old villa in Jumeirah. Located deep in the heart of Jumeirah 1. This 7-bedroom hotspot of paranormal activity is home to a group of Filipinos who claim to have experienced visitations for over a year now. Most unusual, perhaps, is Laura's encounters with a male Jinn. Laura's spooky story began in November last year when she was awakened at 3 a.m. I felt an intense pressure all over my body, as though there was a person sleeping on top of me. I tried to sit up, but couldn't move anything besides my fingers and toes. On the curtains I could see a dark shadow on me which definitely was not a human shadow and was wide and weirdly large-sized, she says. A few nights later, I could hear a man moaning from my roommate Mary's bed. At first I thought her husband was back from the Philippines. But a quick peek revealed Mary was fast asleep with that mysterious shadow on top of her reflecting on the wall. Understandably, both Laura and Mary, having discussed the events of the night, were afraid to sleep alone in their beds, instead choosing to huddle together on the floor. On one of those nights, Mary had another visitation. I was fast asleep when I felt something at my foot. I looked down to see my sock peeling itself off. I woke up the other girls and we all saw it happen, not just once or twice, but 8 times over the course of the night. Her husband Carl has an equally eerie story to tell. 3 months ago I was home alone and my bed started shaking incessantly. I looked around thinking I was in the middle of an earthquake, except that nothing else was moving apart from my bed. Sometimes I hear voices trying to whisper in my ear. His flatmate Philip, a 30-year-old secretary, says he has visitations from the Jinn at least once a week. Normally, it just draws open my curtains every time I close them, but one time I was in the shower and it locked me in for 2 hours. My flatmates had to eventually break the lock to get me out. Louise, a Filipino teacher who lives in one of the ground floor bedrooms, says she's afraid to enter her own kitchen alone because she feels a strong presence in the kitchen and the adjoining toilet. Often, the kitchen becomes exceedingly cold, or the bathroom door slams open and shuts, the flush goes off mysteriously. It's not a part of the house I like coming to. Nora, the eldest occupant of the house, says she was once a medium and as such is trying to make contact with whatever it is that is in their house. So far, she hasn't had any luck. Her flatmate Carl says that while the days are usually quiet, most of the paranormal activity happens at night. These aren't dangerous jinns. But they like to play around, says Carl. For example, no matter how often we change the light bulbs in our room, they don't last beyond 2 weeks. Whoever it is that's living in our room obviously likes the dark.